this was fantastic. What a masterpiece of nature documentary filmmaking. Absolutely beautiful visuals, just stunning. Every scene, all the footage, just absolutely stunning. Definitely gives it this majestic, cinematic, dramatic feel. Uh, the look coupled with the narration, what's being said, the score, everything done to the highest, just the highest level, just brilliant that way. And yeah, spare a thought for the filmmakers out there. I think for it says 3 years, just capturing this wonderful footage, putting it all together in a really thoughtful, compelling way, to just make this masterpiece just beautiful.
Unwavering. I really enjoyed this. I like documentaries like this where I'm really learning about something that I don't know about at all, or that I wouldn't necessarily have ever learned about before. And the musk ox are definitely definitely fall into that category where I don't think I ever would have known about it unless I was watching a documentary like this that is geared towards, sharing this animal with the world, and with learning about that, and like learning about how adaptive they are and how they survive in these extreme climates, and the risk reward of, do I expend the energy to move with the potential of finding something to eat, or do I stay and conserve and try and wait out the winter? And even having like little baby calves, or in that climate, is just amazing. It's a great species about adapt adaptability. Jeez, that was hard for me. And learning how to truly work with your climate, and developing those skills as an animal, and over time and evolution, like developing all of the things that you need to survive and thrive in that kind of climate. And then at the very end, getting the information about how climate change has affected these animals, and how human invading different areas has also like been had its effect as well. I thought was even more educational, and I really liked that they waited till the end, because you spend this whole film really learning about this animal, and like kind of like really rooting for them, and you wanting to be on their side just because they survive so much. And I think that the human condition is to kind of always want that, like those kind of characters or creatures or whatever to thrive. And then at the very end, it kind of hits you with the current information with climate change, and how they've struggled and had to be reintroduced in certain areas. And I thought it was really, really well structured, and just really well done and educational. And they got such great footage, which I think when you're talking about a documentary like this that's geared towards animals, the more footage you get where they're seemingly in their natural relaxed habitat, the better it is, because I think it just bonds the audience to the subject matter so much more.
What magnificent creatures these musk oxen are. I had never heard of these, so this was a very educational documentary. What really set it apart, though, was the beautiful cinematography and score. They made it seem almost cinematic, like one of those movies that you would see at the Museum IMAX theaters, where it explains, but it's in a way that's not boring, which a lot of the films at museums are. So this would really be up above, and it would put the conservation efforts more to the forefront about what's going on with these animals. They really are gorgeous creatures, and the fact that they endure in the brisk cold really shows their strength. They've been forced out of all these other areas, but the fact that they were trying to introduce them in the 1930s and have begun to do it more shows that there is a real conservation effort, but it needs to extend. A documentary like this is educational, but it's also absolutely beautiful to watch, because it's just eye-capturing with the high-quality cinematography.
Unwavering. I find this project particularly interesting because I have always been fascinated by these animals, the musk and ox. Ever since I was a little kid, actually, I remember being like 6 year old and read and see about these animals. And I was very fascinated by them because of their fur, because of their entire personality. They have a very interesting personality. So I was very drawn to this short documentary because I have always been interested in these animals. And I can say that it was a very rewarding experience. It was a very interesting short documentary because it is amazing to see these so cold places and how these animals, the musk and ox, can live there and has living there since pretty much the beginning of time, right? They have been there for millenniums, countless of years, and it's amazing that a creature can exist in such a cold, unforgiving environment. It's fascinating, and I think that the filmmakers made an excellent job exploring and showing this place and following the life of these creatures. I was fascinated by the visuals. The images were beautiful. It was so amazing, and I was feeling very cold when I was watching this film. So I think it makes you feel the image. So it was a very interesting experience, and I was very fascinated again by how these animals live there, how we see them struggling through the cold, through the snow, how they eat these tiny pieces of grass they find at some points, and how they must save energy to endure these very cold winters. I also like to know more about their social dynamics, how they fight, why they fight, and discovering that their leader is often, if I understood correctly, their leader is often a a female ox, right? I think I get that. At least that's the impression I get from the film. So it was a very fascinating, rewarding experience. I am very impressed to just think how these filmmakers went to that very cold, unforgiving place and how they follow with these animals for what it, what it should have been a very frozen winter. I mean, chapeau bas. What a what an effort! It's amazing. And my only complaint is it's too short. I could have watched these animals for an hour, so I was very fascinated by them. I wanted to know more about this environment. I wanted to see more of these creatures. There was this tiny little white creature. I didn't know what it was. It was like a rabbit. I'm not sure if it was a rabbit, but it was like this fuzzy white little thing that was in the snow at some point. And I wanted to know more about that. I wanted to see more of this place and these animals. But it was an amazing job. I really hope you get to take this project to some streaming platforms, some channels, because I think you could have a very strong audience because well, a strong audience from people like me who just enjoys and loves watching uh, animal documentaries, especially this kind of very unusual animal in very unusual places. Well done, amazing job, and again, I just wish it was longer. And I forgot to add, I found this documentary a rather humbling experience because it shows us how us humans are just this tiny little thing living in this planet and how majestic the world can be. We need to respect it, we need to protect it. So I think it provides a very strong message of environment awareness, so to speak. And I was also very worried about the little baby musk ox who gets lost at some point. I was happy to see that he reunited with his family, but it was a very dramatic moment. I was very worried about that little guy. Okay, that's all. Bye bye.